Is this thing working? Here we are.
Oh, yeah. We love Mondays.
I love Mondays.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I don't. What are we doing already this morning?
I tried to tell a lie.
We're truth tellers. We're truth tellers here. No, we do not like Mondays.
Yep. See how honest I am. I couldn't even get the whole lie out before I had to go, what are you talking about? Yeah. But hey, everybody, welcome. This is episode 104 of Is This Thing Working? Welcome to our show. Hey, before we get started, let's talk about it because, man, between Thursday and yesterday, especially, the weather's been nuts. It's been horrible. Yeah, and I can sit here and kind of say, well, it's been nuts, but it's been horrific for a lot of people. It's been horrible for a lot of people. People from, Fox said 16, but you look on the map, and I counted 10, but still 10 different states, man, that have gotten hit with tornadoes and a lot of damage, a lot of flooding. They said this morning on the news that there was 136 tornadoes reported since last Thursday that swept across the middle of the country, Texas, Oklahoma, all the way up to Michigan.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. We went to Dallas this weekend to one of our grandbaby's birthdays, and all of us were there. And we also have children that live in Oklahoma, so they drove down and we drove up from East Texas. And all day you kept hearing that the storms were coming. So we were all worried we would get stuck and not be able to go home and stuff, there in McKinney.
So we all bailed out real early, and I'm glad we did, and I'm glad the kids did too, because at least they got home and were able to take care of themselves. They weren't stuck out there on the road or nothing like that, man, on the interstate.
Yeah, it was pretty scary. So in Oklahoma, we have children that live in Ardmore and Dixon, and tornadoes just went right past Ardmore. They hit Ardmore. Marietta kind of skipped a little bit over. Well, they got a little place in Ardmore.
Yeah.
In Plainview, and then they kept on going, and they just destroyed Sulphur.
Yeah.
So
leveled that whole downtown.
It was absolutely terrible.
Yeah. So anyway, as we get the show rolling, hey man, just keep all these families in your thoughts and prayers. And like I said yesterday, if you're nearby, those towns, those areas, and you have the means and I hope you find it in your heart to please go help and help those people out, man. Their lives are upturned, man. It's
pretty sad.
A lot of them started their evening with everything in their life, and by the next sunrise, it was gone.
Yes.
So it's got to be horrific, man. And we had a pretty bad storm here last night, too, and had some pretty strong winds come through here.
I know. We thought our roof was falling down at one point. We sat up in bed like, oh, my gosh. It was very scary.
Yeah. And we even did the same thing. We headed for a room with no windows and all to take cover, for at least for about an hour. It blew through like that real hard. But anyway, as we get into our news topics of the day, we do want to state that these are our opinions, our assertions, and if you agree with us, tell your friends, share our show, stomp the like button, and please follow us. Subscribe wherever you see the name Is This Thing Working. You help Denise and me further our reach when you share our show, and for that we thank you. Don't forget, too, every Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., 2 p.m. Central, we do a live stream on Rumble. So if you don't already have it, download the Rumble app. You can follow us there every day, 2 o'clock. Jump in there, jump in the chat with us. Love to have you there.
Also, please support our sponsors today by clicking on the links below in the comments. Pure Hemp Botanicals, where you can save 40% site-wide. It is their 8th year anniversary, and their mission statement is compassion in action through a passion for hemp. So you can go to their website also to look at all of their products at purehempbotanicals.com. But we're going to go through a few little products that they have.
And if you don't use CBD, we do. And it improves our quality of life. Like I've said before, it's great on inflammation, especially for like me, I have arthritis in my hands, and it really helps with pain management, and it helps with the inflammation, which in turn gives me, in my opinion, a better quality of life. They have 750 milligram Pure Balance full spectrum CBD gummies. They also have it in the tinctures and the oils that you can place on underneath your tongue, and they've also got the soft gel caps.
And also, if you get a subscription, you get 10% off every time. So that helps, and I believe you get free shipping if you have a subscription.
Right.
So be looking into them. And thank you for supporting our sponsors. We really appreciate that. They keep the show free for you.
Yep. Let's get moving.
Let's get moving, because it was a wild weekend in the weather department, and it was a wild weekend in the news department. So here we go. We're going to start.
Yesterday morning, we're sitting there watching the news on Fox News, Fox and Friends, whatever, I guess, Pete Hegseth and Will. And they had their little wall up there. They had all the different presidents there. They were talking about the presidential approval ratings. And as we watched that and watched them go across the wall, we noticed something pretty funny. Check it out.
In a bubble, in a bubble world, wrapped obsessed with their own press. If we can go back to that timeline real quick, starting on left to right, if you look at, these are all the 13th quarter of a presidency, right? So that means three years in. Eisenhower reelected, Reagan reelected in '84, Nixon elected in 1972, Clinton reelected, but W. Bush reelected, and then you start to get to the other side where the numbers are underwater. Carter lost. Trump. Obama was reelected famously, and then H.W. Bush didn't win a second term. And with a number like that, it's hard to conceive of the dynamics changing. It's really a ballot box security thing in my mind. How do you guard the ballot box and make sure it's straightforward and everyone can have confidence in the results? That's what you want. As we've gotten more divided, ought to be able to agree on whether or not somebody won or lost. But those numbers, you look at that side of that timeline, do not look good for Joe Biden.
Yeah, we all know those numbers don't look good for Joe Biden. But
No.
the funny thing was, as he's going through the presidents and he's talking about which president won, and Eisenhower with a 73%, and then he keeps on going down the list, and he gets to where he begins to flip them from when they won their election to when they lost it. They get to Trump. And he doesn't say either. He doesn't say either or.
He just skips right over him. We did notice that, so we wanted to bring that out because
that was hilarious.
It was hilarious.
Yep.
Because that's how you know how Will thinks. I mean, what he thinks about things. He kind of subtly does it. So I was like, James, you see this? I had to back it up because he wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah.
So it was funny. So we had to share that with you. And then we're going to share this Trump shock poll to go along with it because, CNN, they came out crying this weekend that Trump holds a whopping 6-point lead in the new CNN survey. Is anybody out there surprised? I'm not. No. It shows that Trump is leading Joe Biden by a whopping 6-point margin in a head-to-head matchup. The poll conducted by SSRS showed Trump holding 49% of the vote, with Biden at 43%, and other unsure receiving 8%. That 6-point lead is by far Trump's biggest in any major nationwide poll taken in the month of April.
The tears are flowing at CNN. Yeah, the lawfare ain't working.
Oh, the lawfare ain't working. And this is why it ain't working, because we have wonderful independent journalists out there right now. And there's this new bombshell evidence that emerged over the weekend. And this article I'm going to go through right here is Zero Hedge. And there's so much evidence or so much news coming out right now. So we kind of want to just guide you through it just a little bit here and give you the highlights. But the article says, was Trump set up in classified document saga?
Yeah, it says that this week in Florida, as we know, Judge Eileen Cannon unsealed the trove of new documents that Jack Smith's been fighting to keep hidden all this time. So among those documents that were unsealed were extensive exhibits, motions, and other filings that shed light on the intricate web of the communication between the Biden White House and the National Archives and Records Administration that led up to this Trump indictment.
Yeah, investigative journalist Julie Kelly, she found something interesting in the documents that could change everything. The first thing is testimony from an FBI agent who testified that the General Services Association, GSA, had been in possession of Trump's boxes in Virginia before ordering Trump's team to come get them. See, she says in a tweet below, it says, well, I'm pretty sure we never heard this part of the classified documents box story. More than unredacted motions in Florida, this is from an unsealed transcript of witnesses' interview. FBI agent says GSA was holding large quantity of Trump's boxes in Virginia and then ordered them to come get them. So this is really huge.
It was 6 pallets of stuff.
It was huge. It was
Yeah,
a lot.
It was 6 pallets.
And what's so crazy is it appears that the Biden administration may have been responsible for shipping the classified information to Trump's Mar-a-Lago home in Florida. So what they did is they shipped all of these to Virginia to hold, because I believe this is like something they supposedly do every time, and they hold them there for 6 months. And then they have the former presidents go and pick them up.
Right.
Right? Ain't that how this
Right. That
works?
is based on the Presidential Records Act.
Exactly.
Right. And this evidence right here shows that basically what the White House and the FBI done was collude together to set him up. Entrapment.
That's exactly
That's
what they did.
exactly what this is.
They sent all this over here, had his people go and pick it up and store it at Mar-a-Lago. He never looked at it.
Sure he didn't.
You know, he's been busy. He's never really paid attention to it.
Well, and I was thinking about this too. Put yourself in this position. If you knew you had 3 boxes of stuff that was showing up, on your front porch that was full of documents that you knew at some point in time you're going to have to start looking through them, right? You want to start looking through them. If they show up with 6 pallets and they place them up here and they go, here they are, you're going to be overwhelmed by that. You don't know what's in them. You don't know at that point. Does that make you wrong? No. In this point, because you're trusting that they're bringing you what you know you're supposed to be having anyway.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And
so it's entrapment.
It is entrapment. It was a setup from the get-go. Meanwhile, Joe Biden had classified information that he was never entitled to in stored boxes in his garage for years, but was not charged. So they are going after President Trump with lawfare, and I did ask Julie Kelly online last night. So I could get her statement. I said, what is the end game? I'm wondering. With all these document releases, do you think Judge Cannon is going to dismiss this case? And she answered me, and her statement is, there is a chance she dismisses the case based on selective and vindictive prosecution, which she hinted at during a hearing last month. This could be her way of getting as much evidence into the public square to justify such a decision. Part of me also thinks she wants this to go to trial to expose just how dirty the case is and force Jack Smith to own it. But we shall see.
I really hope that that's what she does, and I believe that's what she's after, too. I agree with Julie, because Judge Cannon has sat there and seen every bit of this already.
Yes. Yeah, she knows it all. She knows everything that's going on. Yep. And Jack Smith is doing his best to hold off, but she's just dumping them. She's releasing them. And, I think this is huge. While President Trump is over there in New York City being railroaded again with another case that they've corrupted,
and colluded together.
Yes, that they colluded,
Yeah. And if you look at this and you look at that, at his hush money case, or if you look at this and even the real estate case that he has going on, these judges sit here and see every bit of this. That's what's so messed up, man, and that's what is so horrible about what's going on in New York, is the fact that I know, everybody out here in the audience that's listening to us today, we all know that when discovery happens and judges see all this evidence, the judges most of the time are smart enough to already see what's going on. I think they probably pretty much a lot of times already know the decisions that would be made by a jury based on what they're looking at if all of this comes out.
I know. There's no evidence that he stole classified document.
Right. But those documents got there somehow. And at least now this is proof that it happened. And that's kind of what I'm pointing at with the Alvin Bragg thing. How much evidence is truly there that this judge is sitting here looking at, but yet he continues to
go along
and treat Trump the way that he is.
I know. This gag order that's going on.
All of it. Yeah, all of it. It's crazy.
It is. Yeah, it is very crazy. And speaking of the Alvin Bragg case, the hush money case, that 300-page report came out this weekend also the House Judiciary just, happened to just put it out there because Steve Bannon was not happy with it. You know what I mean? With the fact that they weren't doing anything about the lawfare.
Yeah, because he kept screaming at them.
He did. He kept screaming pretty loud. Hey,
we all did.
Where are you at? Where is the Republican Party? Why aren't they doing something about it?
We all screamed about it. Matter of fact, we even asked that question. Where are you?
Yes.
Where are you at?
Where are you at? Yes, we did.
Yep.
So, but yesterday on Maria, we were watching Maria, and Jim Jordan from the House Judiciary Committee was on there, and Maria had some tough questions to ask him. Bartiromo, I have this article from The Hill, and it says, Bartiromo and Jordan were discussing the Judiciary Committee's latest report that alleges the New York City District Attorney's Office hush money probe into former President Trump is political prosecution. She says, well, look, I mean, at this point, American citizens are asking, what can you do about it? I mean, look, with all due respect, people are sick and tired of congressional investigations that go nowhere. People are sick and tired of letters being written and sent to the people who we know are bad in the first place, Maria said on Sunday on Fox News Sunday Morning Futures.
Yeah, she goes on to tell him they want you to do something about it. You're an elected official. What can you do to right these wrongs? And in pure politician fashion, he didn't answer her question directly.
No.
He goes on to say, well, we passed legislation out of the committee that would help remedy this situation, particularly the one in New York. But the president or vice president can move a case to federal court when you do these state prosecutors who are going after someone for political reason, he responded. So we're a legislative branch. We can't put anyone in jail, and I don't think the Biden administration, their DOJ, is going to go after the people who need to go after. You're just not going to get that from Merrick Garland, he continued. So you're telling me that we're going to come out here and we're going to just bring all this information out and we're going to question these guys, and other than investigating it, we can't do a damn thing. That's what you're telling me.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not doing a damn
Why
thing.
are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I mean, and the thing is, they can't, and it really takes us off. But one thing they could do is release this a long time ago. Release this before the trial even started.
Exactly.
Why are we just now getting it? Release it so the people can get out there. The people can stand up and make this an issue.
This goes back to the discovery thing that I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
This goes right back to all of that. All of you knew this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every bit of them. Why Joe Biden is in office, we all know why, and so does a lot of other people. I have an article here from Gateway Pundit about an interview with Judge Joe Brown, and he has a few choice words about the Democrats at this point. It says here, the headline, Judge Joe Brown goes off on Barack Obama and low-down scummy bastard and piece of urban trailer park trash, Joe Biden, in explosive interview. He says what we all think. Look at it.
Yeah. It said in a recent bombshell interview with YouTube creator The Real Dana, Judge Joe Brown unleashes a torrent of criticism against several high-profile individuals, including John Legend, Fani Willis, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden, whom he referred to as a low-down scummy bastard. Brown's remarks come after Legend publicly supported Biden and called President Donald Trump a racist. So when Brown hears this, man, he comes back, and it says here that Judge Brown held nothing back as he traced the issues within the American criminal justice system and its impact on black communities back to legislative actions that he attributed to Biden and other lawmakers in past decades. Yeah, he talks some trash about him here.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
And he says right here, he says, most of what is wrong with the criminal justice system in the United States of America, this trickled down from the federal level to the state level that negatively impacts blacks and other minorities, was started off in 1979, 81, 83, 87, 91, 94. Thanks to Joe Biden, Stennis, Eastland, and Byrd, Brown said.
Yeah.
He named some names there.
Yeah.
And then he goes on to say, and you can thank them for some of the problems that with American criminal law as they negatively impact black folk. This mess about all of these people in jail, first offenders for one rock. You can thank Joe Biden for with his mess about crack, even though it seems to have settled into his household quite heavily.
Yeah, and if you remember back in the 90s how, man, they'd catch a guy with one crack rock, and that poor joker be in jail for life.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You'd catch a guy with a bag of weed, and he'd be in jail for life.
Actually, President Trump pardoned somebody
Yes.
that was in jail for life for a crime like that. Yes.
And he goes on to talk some even more trash about it, and I don't think we're going to get into it right now. If you want to read the rest of that article, I think you could go to it, but we're not going to right now.
Yeah, he says a few choice words that I don't think we're
going to say. Yeah.
So we'll let you go on to read this article. It's really good.
Yeah.
And if you are interested in seeing the interview, you can find it on YouTube.
Yeah. So let's keep on talking about Biden's corruption then. OnlyFans creator Farah Khalidi said that she was paid to push Biden regime's political propaganda online.
I know. And we watched the video on it, and she just kind of came out like if she was just having a conversation. Yeah, that's what they did.
Yeah.
It's a good question, though. How many influencers did the Biden administration pay to push their propaganda?
This article started out by saying the Biden regime is all smoke and mirrors. OnlyFans creator Farah Khalidi has made waves after claiming on a podcast that she created political propaganda ads for the Biden regime on TikTok. And during this interview with political science researcher Richard Hananiah on his podcast, she opens up about her entry into the world of online revenue through TikTok and OnlyFans. Here's what she said.
I started TikTok like the spring semester of my senior year, and I was like, fuck, I finally have to start applying for law school. And then like, you know, female privilege, life is so easy for a, woman. Obviously, I lucked out. I'm just kidding. I lucked out. And then, TikTok was basically full time for me. I think I was taking ads by the time I graduated college from like the Biden administration and Planned Parenthood and like dating apps and stuff. So it was like fully financially, sustaining
So you were
me.
getting, the Biden administration was buying ads from you?
Yeah, I was doing full on political propaganda.
And they would just, really with like what kind of like Biden created 10 million jobs this year?
Honestly. And the funny thing is they're like, do not disclose this is an ad because, they're like, technically it's not a product. So you don't have to disclose it's an ad. Because I think they just wanted like some edgy girl of color to just tell people like when they nominated like Ketanji Brown Jackson, they're like, can you say like as a person of color, that you feel reflected? And it's like a white woman emailing this to me and she's like giving me this script and I'm like, no. And she's like, please. And I'm like, no, I'll like talk about the news of it, but I'm not gonna be like, I'm not gonna have a white person tell me to be like, this is how I feel as a person of color. Like it's just so, I think that black-pilled me slightly on like, political propaganda
So
stuff.
the Biden administration sees, here's this young,
Yeah, I mean they use like a conduit. It's not like, you know what I mean? It's not Biden, but it's like
Biden.
it's like a third party. You know what I mean? It's like a media company that's doing it on his behalf. I'm not blaming him for this.
Yeah. And the message is like, because you're a dark-skinned woman, you will be inspired by Ketanji Brown Jackson and all the kids should support her.
Yeah, they're like basically as like another black person, just say that like you feel reflected by Ketanji. I'm like, no, I'll talk about like Ketanji's background and her accomplishments, but like I never, you know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna say like the corny stuff. Even if it was a brown person emailing it to me, I'm like, no, that's not like how I feel. Like I don't look at like Ketanji and feel like, wow.
Yeah. See, yeah.
I wonder how she votes.
Right?
She never did say. Yeah.
But
So,
that's
yeah,
crazy.
It's just more corruption of Joe Biden, getting these influencers to lie.
Well, yeah.
It's propaganda.
Yeah.
I have to give her kudos, though. I mean, she's out there making money. Hey, she's an influencer. That's what she does.
Yeah, but you got to have principle too, though, man.
And, she didn't talk about the color thing. I think that's real important.
Right.
I mean, but
and that
still,
was a good point she brought out. She said, I'll come on here and talk about her accomplishments, but I'm not going to say all the corny stuff.
Yes. So that was pretty good. But, propaganda is propaganda. She's horrible. She was a horrible person to elect, to put on the bench.
That's, yeah.
That's corruption. That's more corruption.
Is this thing working?
Rise up.
Well, hey, everybody, that's it for today. Thanks for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope you've learned some things about what's going on around us in the nation and in your communities. We couldn't do this without your continued support either. We appreciate all of you showing up, taking the time to listen to us today. So please, like I say, make sure to hit the like button, share our show with all your friends. We'll see you next time on Is This Thing Working? And as always, I'm James, and that's my lovely co-host over there.
Denise.
and we'll see you next time.
We're out.